Okay, so first we will discuss chromosomes. Okay, chromosomes in non-dividing cells in interphase. There are four phases of cell division. You have read. Okay, so in non-dividing cells in interphase, cells are not visible under the microscope because they are present in the form of long thread-like material called the chromatin. Okay, so that's why they are not condensed. They are spread like a thread-like material. That's why it is not visible in interphase. And during cell division, chromatin condenses to form the chromosomes which are visible under the light microscope. Chromatin consists of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and present in the nuclei of the cells. Chromosomes, this word comes from chrome and soma. কি এত কথা বলছিস কন্টিনিউয়াস কথা বলে যাচ্ছে কিছু জন Okay, so chroma means color, soma means body in Greek. So these two words together is forming the chromosome. Waldeyer coined the term chromosome. Okay, so these things are important for your MCQs, generally asked in MCQ. So DNA in nucleus, they form chromatin in interphase, and this chromatin condenses to form chromosome during the cell division. Okay, Next we go to morphology of chromosomes. It can be best studied during metaphase of the cell division. And in other phases like prophase, anaphase and telophase, chromosomes are either not completely condensed or over condensed. These are the numbers of chromosomes. The number of chromosomes is in the given species is constant. Okay, like we have 46 chromosomes in human species. Okay, in other species number changes. Okay, so the number of chromosomes in the given species is constant, and diploid number is 2n number. The number of chromosomes in each of the somatic cells in human is 46. Haploid number means number of chromosome in each of the gametes, that is sperm or ovum, and they are 23 in human. What are the shape of chromosome in different phases of the cell division? Shape of the chromosome varies according to the phase of cell division. In interphase, the chromosomes are long, thin, thread-like chromatin. In prophase, they are long, condensed chromosomes. In metaphase, thick, condensed, filamentous, and in anaphase, there will be short and divided at the centromere. Okay. Next. So describe the structure of a chromosome. This is a chromosome can come as a short note in your theory paper. Genetics is mainly important for theory. Okay. Or sometimes in OSPE a card will be given and related question will be asked. So also important for your OSPE questions. So chromatid at mitotic metaphase, each chromosome shows two symmetrical structures. These are called sister chromatids. See, this is one sister chromatid, here is another sister chromatid. And they are joined at this part, this is known as centromere. Both the chromatids are attached to each other at the centromere. And sister chromatids get separated at the centromere in anaphase and migrate to the opposite poles, okay, during cell division. Next, see, these are the different two sister chromatids. This is P arm and this is Q arm. P arm means short arm and this is Q arm. Q arm means long arm. P is coined from petite, the word petite. Petite means small, and Q is the next letter after the P, so this represents the long arm. Okay, and these are the different bands showing location of different genes within the chromosome. And these are two identical sister chromatids joined at the centromere. And these are named, these location of genes are named according to its location in different arms, and these bandings according to the bandings. So here it is named as 3p22, here it is 3p21, like this. Okay, so 3 is, it is located within chromosome 3. P is the arm, in which arm? It is located in P arm of the chromosome 3, and this is region. 22 is the region, and this is banding, sub-banding, like this. Okay. Next. Next we will discuss individual parts of the chromosome. So first is centromere or kinetochore. What is centromere? Centromere is the region of the chromosome to which the sister chromatids are attached. It is the primary constriction of the chromosome. Chromosome forms a thin segment of the chromosome called primary constriction, and centromere consists of repetitive DNA sequences that bound to specific proteins, and thus it forms disc-like structure called kinetochore. Okay, and during mitosis, microtubules of the mitotic spindle get attached to this kinetochore and provide the force for chromosomal movement during the anaphase of the cell division. Human chromosomes are monocentric as they contain only one centromere. Okay. In other species, they may have multiple centromere. Okay. So due to X-ray exposure, chromosomes breaks and may form abnormal chromosomes like acentric, that means no centromere, or dicentric, two centromeres. Okay. Next. Next we go to, अच्छा, previous one दाओ तो आगे जाओ. अच्छा, next. Telomere. Okay. Next we go to telomere. Telomere is free ends of sister chromatids are known as telomeres, and telomeres prevent fusion of chromosomes with each other. Deletion of telomere makes the end sticky, and telomerase is the enzyme which is responsible for telomere synthesis and maintenance of the length of the telomeres. And the telomerase is RNA dependent DNA polymerase. Okay. Telomerase activity is present in germ cells and stem cells. Stem cells are the hematopoietic cells, but absent in the somatic cells. And increased telomerase activity favors cancer cells. Next we go to secondary constriction. Next is secondary constriction. A narrowed portion of chromosome other than the centromere is called as secondary constriction, and secondary constriction helps in the identification of the chromosome. Primary constriction is the location of the centromere, and secondary constriction is not present in all the chromosome, and it helps in identification of different chromosomes. Next is nuclear organizers. Nuclear organizer region or NOR. They are the regions of secondary constrictions and that contain genes for coding ribosomal RNA. And NOR forms the nucleolus. In human, chromosome 13, 14, 15, 21 and 22, all acrocentric chromosomes have a nuclear organizer region. Okay. So all these are together forming the nucleolus. Next is satellite. What is satellite? It is a round, elongated, knob-like appendage of the chromosomes. And only acrocentric chromosomes, these numbers 13, 14, 15, 21, 22 have satellite bodies. And satellites are connected with rest of the chromosomes by a thin filament of chromatin. So next we go to divisions of chromatin. There are euchromatin and heterochromatin. So depending on the set of staining, chromatin is classified as lightly stained euchromatin and darkly stained heterochromatin. See here euchromatin. Euchromatin is partly then condensed portion of chromatin which stains slightly, and it is called the euchromatin. See here, this is the somatic cell, it is nucleus. Nucleus, some part are deeply stained, that is heterochromatin, and this lightly stained area is euchromatin. and this area is the bar body. This drumstick body, this is bar body, represents the bar body in the neutrophil of the neutrophil of humans. So euchromatin is lightly stained. Heterochromatin, it is contents part of chromatin, stains darkly, and it is called heterochromatin. It has high content of repetitive DNA sequences and very few structural genes. It is late replicating and non-transcribed part of the chromatin material. Types of heterochromatin. Heterochromatin is classified into these following two types: constitutive and facultative heterochromatin. Okay, next. So this is the difference between euchromatin and heterochromatin. Euchromatin is lightly stained chromatin, heterochromatin darkly stained chromatin. It is less coiled, this is condensed and highly coiled chromatin. Euchromatin is active chromatin and heterochromatin is inactive chromatin. Euchromatin expresses during interphase and heterochromatin does not express during interphase. It contains structural genes, it contains repetitive DNA sequences. Okay. Euchromatin mutation occurs frequently in the euchromatin, mutation occurs less frequently in the heterochromatin. Euchromatin contains guanine and cytosine bases predominantly, and it contains adenine and thymine bases predominantly. Okay, so these are the difference between euchromatin and heterochromatin. So these differences are important for your different MCQs and can come as a short note. Okay, next. So what is constitutive chromatin? The part of heterochromatin that remains inactive throughout the cell cycle or life of an organism is called constitutive heterochromatin. What is the location? It is located around centromere, telomeres and C bands of the chromosomes. In human, chromosomes 1, 9, 16, 19 and Y show significant constitutive heterochromatin. And method of detection is C banding. C banding is a method for detection of constitutive chromatin. What is the function? During cell division, constitutive heterochromatin is necessary for proper segregation of sister chromatids and the centromere. Okay, so this is function of the constitutive chromatin. Now there are some clinical aspects of this constitutive chromatin. First is Robert syndrome. This is also known as hypomelia. These are the clinical features mainly. Hypomelia, hypotrichosis and facial hemangioma. These are the features of Robert syndrome. It is an autosomal recessive disorder caused by mutation at ASCO2 gene of 8th chromosome. Okay. And immunodeficiency, centromere instability and facial anomalies. These three together occurs in ICF syndrome. First letter is included here. Okay, ICF syndrome. It is a autosomal recessive disorder caused by mutation of DNA methyl transferase 3B gene on chromosome 20. Okay, so there are multiple genetic disorders. Next, and genetic disorders generally occurs due to mutation. Next, we go to facultative heterochromatin. What is the definition? The part of heterochromatin that remains active at certain phase of cell cycle or life of an organism is called facultative heterochromatin. Example is one X chromosome remains active throughout the life, but another X chromosome is active only during embryogenesis and female reproductive organ formation. Later, the second X chromosome becomes inactive and forms the facultative heterochromatin. Okay. Next. That means the inactive part is known as facultative heterochromatin and it will form the bar body. So what is bar body? Bar body is important short note. Okay, bar body. Bar body was detected by Murray bar. Nucleus of the diploid cells shows presence of dense dark staining spot at the periphery of the nucleus and that represents the inactive X chromosome. and this darkly stained zone is called as Barr body. In 3% of neutrophil, the inactive X chromosome appears as drumstick. You have seen in the previous picture drumstick. Number of Barr bodies is equal to number of X chromosomes minus 1. Okay, so in male there is no Barr body because only one X chromosome is present. In female, two X chromosome is present. One becomes inactive and forms the Barr body. Okay. Now, what is Lyon's hypothesis? This is also an important short note. Lyon's hypothesis. It states that in female cells, only one X chromosome is active, another X chromosome remains inactive, and the process of inactivation is called as Lyonization. It is named after Mary Lyon, who is a British genetist. Mechanism of inactivation is methylation of the nucleotide bases in X chromosome begins at 15 to 16 days of intrauterine life and that makes it inactive. Okay. Next. So here are the number of Barr bodies. Okay. In normal male, karyotype is 46XY. So number of Barr bodies absent. In normal female, 46XX. So number of Barr body will be 1. In Turner syndrome, one X chromosome is lost. Okay. So there is 45X. So here also Barr body is absent. In Klinefelter syndrome, there is 47XSY. So here Barr body is 1 because 2 X chromosomes are present. In triple X syndrome, 47 triple X. So here number of Barr body will be 2. Okay. See, regarding these Barr bodies, there may come explain why question. Okay. Why in Klinefelter syndrome there is one Barr body, in Turner syndrome it is absent. This type of question can come as a explain why. Okay. Barr body itself is a short note. Next. So facultative heterochromatin, inactive X chromosome forms Barr body, inactivated X chromosome forms the facultative heterochromatin. An inactivated X chromosome remains inactive throughout the life of an individual. And at the time of X chromosome inactivation, embryo has approximately 5,000 cells and any one of the X chromosome can be paternal origin or can be maternal origin, will be inactivated randomly. Okay, there is no preference. So during mitosis, the inactive X chromosome replicates late. The XIST gene is expressed only in inactive X chromosome and that indicates the methylation of X chromosome. And few genes of the short arm of X chromosome are not inactivated. Small deletion of XP gene leads to severe phenotypic effect. Okay. Next. Okay. Next we will classify the chromosome structurally. Okay. So we have known gross structure of the chromosome. Okay. So each chromosome has two arms. Small arm is known as P arm. P represents petit equal to small. And long arm or Q arm, Q is the next alphabet of P. That's why the name is given, P arm, Q arm. Both the arms are connected with each other by centromere. According to the position of centromere, chromosomes are classified as metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric and telocentric chromosomes. This classification can also come as a short note, structural classification of chromosome. Next. So metacentric chromosome with central centromere, that means P arm length equal to Q arm length, is called metacentric chromosome. And examples are chromosome 1 and chromosome 3. Some metacentric chromosome, here chromosome with centromere near the center, not exactly at the center, at some distance to the center. That is P arm is less than Q arm. it is called some metacentric chromosome, and examples are chromosome 4 and 5. Next is acrocentric chromosome. Chromosome with centromere at one end with satellite bodies is called acrocentric chromosome. For example are chromosome 13, 14 and 15. Next is telocentric chromosome. Chromosome with centromere at one end have only one arm. It is called telocentric chromosome. In human, telocentric chromosomes are absent. Okay. Next. See this schematic diagram you practice for structural classification. So this is metacentric chromosome. Centromere is located at the middle and P arm and Q arm is equal to each other. This is some metacentric chromosome. P arm is less than Q arm, and these are the numbers located in this group. 1, 3, 4, 16, 19, 20 is metacentric chromosome. 2, 4 to 12, 17, 18 and X is some metacentric chromosome. Now acrocentric chromosome, P arm, there will be only P arm and satellite bodies are present. And satellite bodies are attached with the centromere via these chromatin strands. So acrocentric, P arm and satellite bodies are present, and these are the numbers 13 to 15, 21, 22 and Y. These are examples of acrocentric chromosome. Next we go to telocentric. Here P arm is absent and not present in, these are not present in humans. Telocentric chromosome. Okay. So here only Q arm is present and P arm is replaced by these satellite bodies. Next we go to cytogenetics. Cytogenetics is a branch of genetics that studies the number and structure of the chromosomes. And cytogenetic study involves these following methods: karyotyping, fluorescent in situ hybridization or FISH is very commonly used technique nowadays, buccal smear for fluorescent bodies, study of sex chromatin or bar bodies, and study of drumstick body in neutrophils. Okay, so these studies are included within cytogenetic study. Mainly important is this karyotyping. Okay, to know any abnormal pattern of the chromosome. Next, so karyotyping. What is karyotype? Karyotype is complete chromosome set of a cell. Karyotyping is very important short note for your theory. Okay, karyotyping. Karyotyping is method of obtaining a karyotype of a cell. Method of obtaining this complete chromosome set of a cell. So for chromosome analysis, the karyotype is prepared from the arrested cell division at the metaphase. Okay. Next. So this is the steps of karyotyping. First is sample collection. Then you have to culture setup. Then incubation at 37 degrees centigrade, that is our body temperature, for 72 hours, that is 3 days at 37 degrees centigrade for 72 hours. There you have to give colchicine block. Okay, it arrests the cell division, colchicine. Then you have to harvesting, there will be harvesting, slide preparation, banding and staining. Okay, and after the banding you will get the karyotype. You have to see under the microscope the different chromosomes. Next, so sample collection, blood, chorionic villus sampling, amniotic fluid, bone marrow or fetal blood is collected in heparinized vacuum. Okay. Then culture setup, cells from collected sample, they are transferred to the culture media. RPMI 1640. These are names of culture media. TC 199 containing fetal bovine serum, that is the nutrition for the cells, and phytohemagglutinin, this is the mitotic agent, helps in division of the cells, and there will be also antibiotics to prevent the bacterial growth in the culture medium. After the culture, you have to incubate. Cultured cells are incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 72 hours to allow the cells to undergo mitosis. Then they will apply colchicine block. Some amount of colchicine is added to the culture to block the cell division in the metaphase. After that, there will be harvesting. Cultured cells are washed with a hypotonic solution to remove the red blood cells and to swell all the cells. And these cells are fixed with chilled fixative, a mixture of glacial acetic acid and methanol. So these are the process of karyotyping. Okay. Next slide preparation. Slide is prepared from the drop of the fixed cells. Then there will be staining. Slide is stained with Giemsa strand and there will be different types of banding methods. G banding, Q banding, R banding, C banding or nucleolus organizing region staining. So these are the differing staining methods. Then there will be karyotyping. Stained slide is observed under a microscope and microphotographed and chromosomes are arranged in sequence. Okay. Next. So preparation of karyotype, photographed chromosomes are arranged in this following manner. According to the length of chromosomes, position of centromere, presence of satellite body and presence of specific bands. This is how you arrange the chromosomes in karyotype. According to Denver classification, chromosomes are arranged into 7 groups A to G. While arranging karyotype, all chromosomes are arranged in pairs in their corresponding group. Except the X and Y, they are arranged at the end. X is followed by the Y. This is how you arrange the chromosomes. Next. So see here, this is a normal male karyotype 46XY. Okay, all the chromosomes are present here 1 to 22, then X and Y. Okay, so X and Y are present in different sets. So these are the chromosomes. Next. So this is normal female karyotype. Here Y is absent, 2 X chromosomes are present. Okay, and you can see all are in pairs. Next. So Denver classification of chromosomes. These are the groupings A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. 1, 2, and 3. They are grouped in group A. 1 and 3 is metacentric, 2 is submetacentric. Group B includes 4 and 5. These two are submetacentric. Next is group C, 6 to 12, and X is included in this group and they are submetacentric. Next is group D, 13 to 15 chromosome. These are acrocentric. Then group E, 16 to 18. 16 is metacentric, 17, 18 is submetacentric. Next is group F is 19 to 20 and they are metacentric. Group G includes 21, 22 and chromosome Y. They are acrocentric. So this is Denver's classification of chromosome. Group A to group G. Okay. And in the numbers of chromosome included in these groups. Okay, understood? Next. Next is G banding. It is also known as Giemsa banding, most common employed procedure for karyotyping. Need of this banding method to differentiate between chromosomes of the same group, for example chromosome 4 and 5. They are included in same Denver's group but their banding pattern will be different. That's how you different. It is 4, another one is 5. So to identify addition, deletion, inversion, translocation. Okay. What are the procedure of G banding? Slide of chromosomes are treated for 10 to 20 seconds with trypsin to partially digest the histone proteins before the gene sustaining. Densely stained region of chromosome is called dark band, which is adenine and thymine rich, and lightly stained region of chromosome is light band, this is guanine and cytosine rich. Okay. Next, what are the uses of karyotyping? Clinical diagnosis of cases with chromosome aberrations. Clinical confirmation of cancer cases showing translocations, for example, deletion of Philadelphia chromosome. Translocation occurs between chromosome 9 and 22 within these regions, okay, within this Q arm of these two chromosomes in chronic myeloid leukemia. All this you will read in pathology, okay. Parent prenatal diagnosis of chromosomal aberrations is done by this karyotyping of the amniotic fluid or chorionic villus sampling from the fetus. Okay, and if you find the disease condition, you can go for termination of the fetus also. Okay, and diagnosis of chromosomal defects in infertility cases or in recurrent abortion cases. You will find the cause of abortion. For detection of single nucleotide change in DNA polymerase chain reaction is used rather than the cytogenetics. Next, various methods of chromosome banding. Okay, we have only discussed G banding. Okay, other bandings will grossly discuss. So band is a part of chromosome which is clearly distinguishable from its adjacent segment by lighter or darker with various banding methods. First is Q banding. In Q banding, chromosomes are stained with fluorescent dye, quinacrine, and it is useful for studying heterochromatin of the chromosomes 1, 9 and 16. R banding. In R banding, slides are preheated before gene sustaining to generate the reverse G banding pattern. These are G and C rich dark bands. C banding. C banding. In C banding, DNA of chromosome is denatured with acid, alkali or heat prior to the gene sustaining, and it is useful for studying constitutive heterochromatin, that is dark banding. Next, we go to other methods. Okay, fluorescent in situ hybridization. First was karyotyping, second one is FIS. FIS is also a important short note, but karyotyping is very very important. You must prepare before your exam karyotyping. So FIS, this full name is asked in your MCQs. Fluorescent in situ hybridization. Fluorescent in situ hybridization is a cytogenetic technique that utilizes the property of DNA probe to bind with its complementary target DNA sequence. DNA probes are tagged with fluorescent substances, maybe with radioactive levels. And what is the procedure? Metaphase FIS. Cells collected from tissue. You do culture, colchicine block, harvesting, metaphase preparation, hybridization with DNA probe. This is different from karyotyping. Up to this, it is same as karyotyping. Then you observation under a fluorescent microscope. In karyotyping, we are using normal microscope. Here we are connecting the chromosome. There is hybridization with the DNA probe, and we are seeing under fluorescent microscope. Interphase of FIS, cells collected from the tissue, slide preparation, hybridization with DNA probe, and observation under a fluorescent microscope is done. Next, what is the applications of FIS? To confirm the presence of specific chromosome or genes, to assess structural defects of chromosomes such as translocation, and to identify small deletion or addition of the chromosome. So these are the applications of FIS. Next is fuel gel reaction, SKY and HRV. Fuel gel reaction, it is staining method for cellular DNA and that reacts with Schiff's reagent. It is specific for 2-deoxyribose sugar. Okay, this is another cytogenetics technique. Spectral karyotyping or SKY. It is a cytogenetic technique that involves simultaneous painting of all human chromosomes with different fluorescent colored DNA probe. And SKY technique is useful for identification of multiple translocations. Okay, different methods are used for different detection. High resolution banding or HRB technique. In chromosome banding technique, total number of bands in all chromosomes is called as band level. Chromosomes in metaphase are condensed, hence can produce only 200 to 350 bands. For detailed analysis, long chromosomes are obtained from late prophase or early metaphase, and procedure is similar as karyotyping except treatment with ethidium bromide, actinomycin D, or hoest with short exposure of colchicine, and used to obtain 800 to 1400 band level for easy diagnosis of deletion, addition, translocation, and many other chromosomal aberration. Okay, so normally in karyotyping there is 200 to 350 band, but to increase the band level, we are doing this technique, high resolution banding technique. Next, next we go to inheritance. Okay, genes are located within the chromosomes, and genes are transferred from maternal and paternal to the fetus. Okay, and there will be inheritance of different genes. So, what is inheritance? All the characters of an individual are inherited from parents through the genetic components. In genetic disorder, the expression of the character in an individual depends on the category of the disease. What is allele? An allele is a variant from a gene. Allele of the same gene is located at the same position, genetic locus on the chromosome. And in human, each gene has two alleles, one inherited from the mother, another from the father. Next, two types of inheritance are there, homozygous and heterozygous inheritance, and there is dominant and recessive inheritance. Okay, and in homozygous, first we will discuss homozygous and heterozygous inheritance. An individual is called homozygous for the gene if he has two identical copies of the same allele for that gene. For example, double A, capital A, to capital A, or to small a. If an individual has non-identical copies of the same allele, like one capital A, one small a, the individual is called heterozygous for that gene. Okay. Homozygous means two same alleles are present. Heterozygous means two different alleles are present together in one individual. Next is dominant and recessive. Alleles can be either dominant or recessive. Each allele may have a phenotypic pattern. That means that is expressed protein or external character. Phenotype means expressed protein or external character. In heterozygous condition, if one allele is expressed and another allele is masked, then the expressed allele is called dominant and the masked allele is called recessive. Okay. In codominant is the condition where both the alleles are expressed simultaneously to generate a mixed phenotypic result. For example, blood group alleles. Okay, if A and B is present, it will be AB. If A and O is present, it will be A. If A and B is B and O is present, it will be B. And if both A and B is absent, it will be O. Okay. Next, multiple alleles. Most of the genes exist in the form of two alleles. Some genes have multiple alleles for particular character, for example, A, B, O, blood group type. Okay. Polygenetic trait. A polygenic trait is a character that is determined by more than one gene. Examples are height, weight, skin color, like this. Phenotype is an outward physical characteristic manifestation of the organism, and it also includes express proteins, macromolecules, cell organelles, cell structure or function, and behavior of the organism. Genotype or complete set of genes. Genotype is the total genetic makeup of an individual that determines the phenotype. Genetic disorder. A genetic disorder is a condition caused due to an abnormality in the genome of an individual, and there are three basic genetic disorders. Single gene disorders. This is also known as Mendelian disorder. This is there will be defect in a single gene. Next, there is chromosomal disorder, defect in the number or structure of the chromosome. Then there is multifactorial disorder, defective due to defective interaction between the genes and environmental factors like viruses, drugs, food, that is also involved here. Okay, in multifactorial disorders. Next. So, what is the importance of this inheritance pattern analysis? Study of inheritance pattern in genetic disorder is very important for assessing the status of the condition, diagnosing the risk of transmission. Okay, in like in breast cancer patient, there will be family history of mother or grandmother. You have to take that history, and that is due to the genetic pattern of this patient. And calculating the risk of transmission, from there you have to calculate how predominant it was present, and how much lethal the condition is for the patient, that can also be assessed from this inheritance pattern. Planning for the treatment and prevention of the condition to the next generation. Okay, so if you got a risk, genetic pattern is there in the family for some disease, so then you have to tell the patient how you can prevent the disease if he or she is not affected till now, and if he or she is affected, then how you will treat for the condition. Okay. Next. Okay, so this is the genetic pattern. From this side, we will discuss in next class. Okay, we will discuss the pedigree chart and different types of inheritance in details, and what are the diseased um, and their patterns of inheritance. Okay, understood? So till now, any queries? Okay, so you prepare chromosome, structural classification of chromosome, karyotype, phase, all these topics are important for your theory paper. Okay, and some topics I have told previously, those are important for your MCQs, OSPs, like this. Okay, understood? Karyotype is very, very important for your theory. Okay, that's all for today.